it creates a lineage and it creates a family tree.
And that's also a good time to start bringing up these terms for, legends
exactly.
and
Legends.
such and such.
Facts. No, facts. And that's another point, too, because that's how you become a legend. That's one way to become a legend, is dropping an extraordinary album, dropping an extraordinary song, a hit song that's a classic that's never been done before. That's legendary, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to make a classic album. That's not the only way to be legendary, but you got to do something that's never been done before.
Oh, yeah.
And it only takes once. That's another point I want to make. You know what I'm saying? Once Mos Def and Talib Kweli made Black Star, they were legends.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't have to do anything else after that.
Or heck, Gangstar, Primo and Guru,
Exactly.
R.I.P., man.
R.I.P. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have to do anything after that. Illmatic, Ready to Die, Reasonable Doubt, Into the 36 Chambers, The Chronic, Doggy Style. Some of these artists started off with a classic. So they've been legends since the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Because they came in the game, was like, yo, you ain't never seen this before. Boom. You know how many rappers can't do that? How many artists can't do that with their first album, or with any album? There are a lot of artists that are consistently good, but if you compare them to the landscape of hip-hop, they haven't broken the mold. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to name names and pick on anybody, but there's a lot of rappers, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's good music. Good music is good music. I enjoy a lot of artists that aren't legends, that don't have classics.
Yeah, like another point I like to bring up, like, look at how long it took Kendrick to really be deemed as a legend
and a GOAT.
One point I like to bring up is a song on.
And Kendrick been dropping mixtapes since 04.
What song is it? I gotta look this up real quick.
Kendrick Lamar EP in 09, Overly Dedicated 2010, Section 80 2011, and then Good Kid, Mad City drops, and he's a legend.
High Power.
What was the song? That album. Not that song. That album.
Rigor Mortis.
Yes, Rigor Mortis.
Oh, right.
Someone
told me
what's up?
August Rio, we're going to football practice, and some little dude, big Drake fan, and we're like, oh, Kendrick's a lot better, yada yada. Listen to Rigor Mortis. We play Rigor Mortis for you. This man sits there staring at it, finishes. Drake would have bodied that. That was trash. I'm just saying, like, did you not listen to what Kendrick just spit on Rigor Mortis?
I'm glad you just said that.
Like, he just murdered somebody.
So the point that he just made, that's the point I was leading into. Did you know that technically is the hardest beat that has ever been rapped on?
Oh, really?
Like
crazy,
difficult beat to
crazy.
rap on?
Yes, because how it's structured, it's to a point like almost nobody could rap on. He's the only one that can because he has a speech impediment that allows him to do it.
Kendrick?
Yeah, it was crazy when I first found out because like you listen to it and it's like it's impossible. Like even when I'm trying to rap along to it, it's hard for me to do it because obviously I don't talk fast.
Kendrick has a speech impediment?
Yeah.
I've been a fan for 10 years.
Yeah, not a lot of people know. Like, obviously, it's been corrected, but when he was younger, he was in a class that helped him fix it. But that's beside the point.
Speech therapy.
Yeah, so it's like the fact that he's done something like that, and also on top of that, dropped, critically acclaimed albums.
Right.
That speaks for itself on why he's a legend.
Right. And the thing is, like, that starts you becoming a legend. Like don't become a legend just by doing the mediocre and the same old. Like he got one of the hardest beats that he could get was on his debut album. Was like, I could probably rap over this, and then bodied it. That starts getting you acclaim. It's like, okay, now I can start getting attention. Now what else are you gonna do? Poke the stick. What are you gonna do now? Okay, album. So you want to build off of that.
Control verse,
right? Classic verse.
Called out everybody.
Classic verse.
But you start building your resume of becoming a legend. Whether it be starting as, I think we have layers to this. So it's like king, legend, GOAT. Is that kind of where we're going? So you have to make yourself, hey, we need to talk about you. Be a prince. Okay, now you're starting to get the claim, king. Cool. Now what's next? Now you got to start pushing, become even more extraordinary, even more groundbreaking to become that legend. Then ultimately start hopefully getting talked to the GOAT talks.
Right.
But you don't get there if you're just rapping over safe beats. Like Kendrick took a crazy ass beat and ran over it. And
exactly.
I don't see Drake or Cole or anybody else probably killing that like Kendrick did.
And also too, there's a lot of rappers rapping over beats that are, like you said, in the antithesis of a like you said, a safe beat is what a lot of people are rapping over, and that's fine because it makes for good music. But like when someone does something that's never been done before, that's the making. So I want to take it back. Innovation, influence. You know what I'm saying? Influence comes from innovation. So influence, I want to talk about the fact that Boogie and Cordae and Jid and Denzel and a lot of rappers that are out now are inspired by Kendrick in the 2010s, early 2010s generation. Osmond Benjamin, Reason, D-Smoke.
Yeah, D-Smoke.
Sir, by the way, his brother, fire R&B artist.
Oh, they're brothers?
The whole family is artists.
Wait, they're really?
Yeah, D-Smoke and Sir
are
brothers.
Wow. Never knew.
Yeah.
D-Smoke, super dope. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people say he sounds exactly like Kendrick, too.
He does sound really similar, but that's because they're both
exactly. But that's beside the point.
But yeah, like, you're going to get that. There's rappers from Brooklyn that sound like
Sky
Zoo. But yeah, no, and so classic, legend, king is a particular phrase because king is something that goes back to New York competition in the 80s, or rather the early 90s, I should say, with the Source magazine talking about who's the king in New York, and Biggie ultimately, famously borrowing from the Christopher Walken 1991 movie King in New York and crowning himself king. Biggie had it all, though. He dropped a classic album right away. He was a top-tier lyricist that was innovating in terms of rhyme schemes, flows,
not even writing half the time.
He was doing things that no one had ever done before from out the gate. Critically acclaimed, culturally impactful.
He was like, what, 20 to like
21?
Yeah,
something like that. He died at 24, so he was like 21 or some shit when Ready to Die dropped. He checked all the boxes. That's why he could call himself king, and that's why, by the way, he was a legend before he passed. When he died, he was already a legend. That's why people could say that. And that's another one of those narratives. Oh, Pac and Big are only legends because they died, or that's one of them Gen Z.
Which, by the way,
overrated.
I'm sorry,
narratives.
But R.I.P. to him. I loved him too, but Juice WRLD, I'm sorry, he's not a legend. He was good for how young he was.
He's a good artist. A lot of potential.
Yeah.
But that's another thing.
Possibly could have.
Potential isn't the same thing as actually groundbreaking.
Let me ask you this.
You know what I'm
Would
saying?
you give Mac Miller legend status?
No.
Why?
Because none of his albums, all of his albums are good.
Okay.
All of his albums are good. I think his weakest is Blue Slide Park, and that's still a good album.
I agree.
But early Mac is very... it's like the College Kid era rap that's good, but it's not groundbreaking, and he didn't really drop any like front to back high level projects in the early 2010s. He didn't start to drop like borderline masterpieces until the late the Swimmings and the Divine Feminines and the Faces and the Circles, posthumously. And those albums, while great, they're solid jazz rap albums is what they are.
Yeah.
I think he was taking influence from Kendrick. I think in the back half of his catalog is very To Pimp a Butterfly inspired. I think Mac is really good at doing things that
he kind of was in his own lane.
But that's being a great artist is being in your own lane
anyway.
Yeah. So, but like, you got to be unique. He's unique, but his albums weren't groundbreaking.
Yeah.
And his
I agree.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was doing skilled lyricism. He's an amazing musician.
Right.
He's a quality artist. And Mac is what I call a veteran.
Okay.
And not everybody that drops good albums for 10 years is automatically a legend. You know what I'm saying? You're a legend when you do something that's never been done before.
Okay.
Doing college rap and then college kid rap and then segueing into jazz rap like Mac did at a high level doesn't make you a legend. It makes you a really great rapper. It makes you did your job. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of rappers that do that. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of rappers.
You got to do something to elevate you from that veteran to a legend, almost like in sports. Like, hey, this quarterback's really dope, but they need to win this. They need to do that.
I'll give you another one. Chance the Rapper isn't a legend.
Oh, I agree fully.
Chance the Rapper's a good rapper. He's a great rapper.
What's his last album?
The Big Day.
I know it was trash. I don't care what anybody says.
I didn't even touch it.
Right, I heard Hot Shower. I was done.
I don't want people to think I'm saying people aren't legends to try to denigrate. I'm saying that there's a difference between good rappers, great rappers, and legendary rappers. Like,
oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? There's like a lot of rappers that are good. One.
Wale, me and him love
Wale's a veteran.
Exactly, Wale's a veteran.
He doesn't have a classic studio album.
Exactly,
unfortunately,
sadly, and he's very consistent with
albums. He can probably rap bars around a handful of most Gen Z's favorite rappers.
He can compete with anybody.
Exactly,
there's a difference.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And you can point to the context of what makes a project unique and groundbreaking. Like if somebody could make a case that, Divine Feminine and Swimming had never been done before in hip hop. If somebody could make that case, then I would reconsider. But I don't see that case. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I see those as good projects.
Yeah. Really good projects.
You know what I'm saying? Really good projects. And that happens too often sometimes when people have emotional, sentimental attachment to a specific artist. If it's their what some people call their window artist, your window into rap, your first favorite rapper, first favorite rapper syndrome is what one of my homies calls it. Shout out Chandler, shout out Hovinger Dynasty. First favorite rapper syndrome. Like you got into the genre from this artist, so to you, they got 2-3 classics, and it's just like that's just not the case.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know it's like
everybody knows Hove's my favorite rapper. Hove is not the GOAT to me because he's my favorite rapper. He doesn't have classics because he's my favorite rapper. He has classics because all of these rappers and all of these artists came after and said. Pusha T said, I wouldn't exist without Reasonable Doubt. Jeezy said, I wouldn't exist without. T.I. says, I wouldn't exist without Volume 1. Wayne says, I wouldn't exist without Volume 1 and 2. Drake said, I wouldn't exist without this. You know what I'm saying? Like, these rappers will tell you this stuff changed the game. You know what I'm saying? And that's a difference.
I think that's also one of the biggest things. Like, nowadays, like, on sports talk shows, we want to listen to former athletes talk about these players because they've been in the game. They got something like a JJ Redick. I'd rather listen to JJ Redick over Stephen A. Smith because JJ played with most of these people and has been in the NBA.
Cooking them dudes on it.
And I'll transfer that to
JJ Redick.
Exactly.
It's like even Kendrick Perkins. Sometimes I hate what he says, but he can make the points. Yeah,
exactly. Back it up.
And same thing when it comes to the rap game. Like, who are the rappers you're listening to or have listened to over the last decade? Who are
what do they
talking about? What are they talking about? Because rappers, you had a dialogue with somebody talking about, was it lyrics? Because they're talking about how JID is one of the top lyricists of the year on Twitter recently. And of course, people start talking about
JID is a spitter.
He can spit. And Hove pops in, but talking about lyricism, boom, 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 boom. He had a couple of actually verified people coming into these comments talking about, like, no, actual rappers are talking about how, like, JID's a good lyricist, but there's a lot better ones in there.
Yeah.
But these are actual rappers, but no one's actually like taking their time out of it. They think like, oh, these people are actually growing up in the game. They know what they're talking about. Not this 18-year-old on Twitter who just loves JID, which I love JID, great lyricist. But I want to listen to all the rappers and engineers and producers tell me who their legends and stuff are, and then I start learning from them and then make my own opinion as opposed to like, what is Charlie from down the street?
I get this all the time. Denzel Curry. Everyone, will die on a hill arguing Denzel is one of today's best lyricists. Right.
He's one of the best of his generation.
Yeah. And people always want to tell me, oh, no. Nah, there's plenty of people better. I get that. I totally get that. I'm just saying he's one of the best ones, not the best. There's a big difference. Or heck, Benny the Butcher has even said...
Benny's got a classic, though.
But even Benny the Butcher had said, when he was doing his brackets video, and it was... I think Denzel versus Boldy. Exactly. But Benny the Butcher even said, like, look.
Boldy's my guy.
Yeah, Boldy's my guy, but Denzel got bars. Yeah, so I'm like, bro, you got a guy like that going wings for dude. Yeah. Clearly, he's got something.
Exactly. And that should have more
weight. All right. Even then, Denzel's first studio album, who hopped on it? Rick Ross.
Shout out Rose.
Exactly.
Rose.
God
forgives, I know it was my first one to Ross, and I never looked back. I was
dude!
We were talking about that in the car. Dude! You snap on that song, too. I don't care.
So, I wanted to cap this off with this.
Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
No, I just want to... No, finish what you were saying first.
I wanted to ask, If you could pick one rapper that you think is a legend in the making, would it be?
So that's what's up.
Can I just say mine first? Shay Noir.
Absolutely.
Shay Noir.
Shay Noir is a legend in the making. Shout out Trust Gang. Shout out Buffalo. Shout out women, beautiful.
Let me tell you, when you put me on her and you said this is possibly the only woman rapper that can hold her own with Black Thought, I'm not gonna lie, I smirked at you, and then I heard Hustle Don't Give. Literally, when I tell you my jaw dropped, I'm like, what is going on right now?
She was 26 when she did that. She gonna keep getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to all the beautiful, amazing lyricists, the women MCs that been killing the game. Cyrock can also hold her own as Black Thought. No Name, Lovely Genius, Armani Caesar. There's a lot of dope spitters in the game. But Shay Noir is absolutely a legend in the making. And I also want to say too, phrases like king, they carry cultural weight, and they are defined by the person that introduces them. So Rakim introduced God MC. He called himself the God MC. Biggie called himself the King of New York. Hove, out of respect for the deceased, called himself the best rapper alive in 2002 on the Blueprint 2. That's why Wayne said he's the best rapper alive since the best rapper retired. But best rapper alive, that conversation, that stems out of the King conversation. Because after Big passed, Nas and Hove were battling it out. And Nas and Hove had been battling since before Big passed, actually. They've been sending subliminals and disses at each other since 96. When Big passed, there's a vacancy in terms of who's king. And then when Hove wants to pay respect and he separates himself and says best rapper alive, everybody starts using that phrase to define who's the best rapper right now, all the way up till J. Cole saying I'm the best rapper alive on the Benny the Butcher song, Johnny P's Caddy this year. That's a phrase that it's in the culture now, best rapper alive. And when someone says that, they mean right now, as opposed to all time. As opposed to what would eventually come to the conversation, which is GOAT. And I wanted to touch on to wrap it up. I wanted to touch on this. LL Cool J said he was the greatest rapper of all time in '97, greatest of all times in homage to Muhammad Ali. That's also why he has the boxing video on the Mama Said Knock You Out album. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a big boxing fan. But LL Cool J. But also, LL Cool J also dropped his studio album titled GOAT in 2000, the acronym, just GOAT. Then, 7 years later, the first rapper to call himself the GOAT on a record, not the phrase greatest of all times, but the acronym GOAT, is Hove. You know what I'm saying? Since then, it's become a massively used acronym in rap songs. Everybody in the rap game calls themselves GOAT. Lil Baby, Quavo, Nicki, you know what I'm saying? On and on and on. Drake, every rapper's calling themselves the GOAT now. Cordae, you know what I'm saying? It's all over the place now. I would argue that LL Cool J had the original claim, and he'd still be the GOAT to this day, if it weren't for the fact that someone like a Hove was able to keep going and build a resume that would ultimately surpass LL's. But LL had 3 classics when he said he was the GOAT. LL had been rapping since 85, and the year 2000 is when he dropped his album titled GOAT. So LL had 15 years in the game. He was already a veteran. He'd already been a legend. He'd already been a king. He'd already checked all the other boxes. He'd already been lyrically influential on 2 generations. So he had every right to call himself the GOAT, or to come up with the phrase GOAT, because he'd done everything. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to do, and then you say it. You know what I'm saying? That's what, and that matters for GOAT, King, Legend, Classic. You know. But to answer your question, D, legend in the making, besides Shay Nora, because that would have been one of my picks too.
I'm sorry, I stole your pick.
Legend in the making. That's tough.
I will say my other one, I'm rocking with my man Zell.
If he ain't already. Because he's been rapping since 2013.
Hey, SoundCloud pioneer. Yeah. Arguably a part of the best XXL freshman class.
Mm-hmm. He's got a...
Only one that laid down a solid verse, I might add.
He was the only one. I thought that you deserved to be on the freshman class.
Shay Nora, Uzi's dope. Uzi was on that shit.
That's what I said. At the time, I was listening to Uzi. It took me a while to get to
Cardi was on there too.
Dave East was on there.
Dave East the one before? Oh, you're right. Dave East was on there.
Yeah.
Dave East goes.
Anderson .Paak, I think too.
Yeah.
You know, he's not an MC necessarily. He don't rap much for real.
But as an artist, overall.
As an artist, Anderson's
fire.
amazing.
I'm trying.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say Shay Nora too, bro. That's the only one I can think of right now.
There's a couple others I want to say.
That's like under 30 that.
Oh, if we're going on
already,
30, I was about to say JID. JID's 31.
I'd throw him in there.
Legend in the making. That's he has the potential. Jid has the potential.
I'm looking at the potential.
He's got the right guy.
The whole Dreamville crew, like to get mainstream. Like Boz has had the talent, but he's never caught on mainstream. JID is catching on everywhere, so I feel like he could be that.
I'm gonna say Jaking the Divine from Brooklyn. Jaking the Divine. He's a Ka inspired Brooklyn MC who's a top tier technician, and he makes amazing projects. Shout out Delusions of Grandeur and Black Sun Zoo projects that he dropped last year and this year respectively. Go cop and peep those. Jaking the Divine.
I feel it.
But yeah, it's been fun, guys. This is pretty much everything we wanted to cover. Let us know how you feel in the comments. Look forward to more content, more unpacking, more culture, more cultivation. That's really the premise of this whole show is cultivating hip-hop culture, educating ourselves and repackaging it to express for others to consume. Shout out hip-hop. Until next time, guys.
Peace. Be safe, y'all.